They were considered brutal savages. They built formidable ships, wielded deadly weapons, and were fearless in battle. They were masters of the Sulu seas in the 18th century. Some considered them pirates. Or were they simply warriors?
Good day everyone! Today we delve into the raiders of the Sulu Sea. While traditional history often paints a picture of a simple piracy, this documentary reveals a much deeper story, one of a sophisticated resistance against colonial expansion. We will look at the Spanish motives, the reality behind the pirate label, and the lasting impact on Muslim communities. Why was Spain so obsessed with the Sulu Sea? It came down to the three things. First, the trade. Second, the theory. And lastly, the religion. First, the trade control. Before the Europeans arrived, Southeast Asia was a hub of free trade. Spain wanted to monopolize the spoils of trade with the Orient and dismantle indigenous network. Second, colonization. Zamboanga City was the strategic last stronghold in 1635. They built Fort Pilar, a 10-meter high bastion designed to be the base for Spanish economic and military expansion. Finally, the reduction policy. This wasn't just about land. It was about moving people under the sound of the bell to convert them to Christianity and stop the spread of Islam towards the north. We've all heard them called pirates, but the transcripts show us why this is a misleading colonial construct. These raiders weren't lawless bandits, they were state-sanctioned warriors. They were commissioned by the Sulu and Maguindanao Sultanates to act as a national navy. In international terms, they were pirateers defending their sovereign waters. Their raids were retaliation, not random crime. For every Moro village or mosque the Spanish burned, the raiders struck back at Spanish settlements. They used highly advanced vessels like the Lanog and Garay, ships that were often faster and more efficient than Spanish galleons. What the West called barbarism was actually a highly organized war of resistance to protect their way of life. The consequences of this 300-year conflict were devastating. Economically, the communities were marginalized. The destruction of their trade route led to long-term poverty. Socially, we see forced displacement. For example, after the 1848 attack on the Samal Balangingi, thousands were forcibly relocated to Luzon, tearing families and cultures apart. Perhaps the most damaging impact was the historical stigma by labeling them pirates and savage in history books. The colonizer called or created a deep-seated prejudice between Christianized and Muslim Filipinos that still affects our social cohesion today.